Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, Democrats are dug in. 15 days into a government shutdown, Democrats show no sign that they're ready for it to end. Not even the prospect of military families going without a paycheck was enough for Democrats to reopen the government. Nor are Democrats concerned about needy families uncertain about the future of nutrition assistance, or Americans in flood zones who are unable to update their insurance or close on a home in the midst of hurricane season. No, Democrats are dug in. And all those Americans living in uncertainty, well, they're just going to have to wait until Democrats' far-left base is satisfied. Mr. President, Democrats attempt to defend their funding blockade by complaining that Republicans won't negotiate. But what exactly is there to negotiate? Negotiation happens when you have two sides, each with its own demands. Republicans have no demands. We've offered Democrats a clean, nonpartisan funding extension. Democrats, on the other hand, are insisting on $1.5 trillion in new partisan spending in exchange for their votes. Now think about that, Mr. President. Let's put this in perspective. $1.5 trillion in new spending in their proposal to keep the government open for 4 weeks till the end of October. Well, we're already at the middle of October. So basically, they're saying they want $1.5 trillion in taxpayer dollars to keep the government open for the next 2 weeks. Think about that one. As our colleague from Louisiana put it, you need a spreadsheet to keep track of everything they're asking for. The truth is that what Democrats really want is something Republicans can't give them. And that's the approval of their far-left base. They're looking for praise from the likes of MoveOn.org and Indivisible. This weekend, Indivisible is holding rallies around the country. And Democrats' motivations are laid bare by what one of the leaders of that far-left group told CNN last week. He said, and I quote, "I'm telling every elected I talk to, millions will be out cheering you on, or they'll be calling for new leadership." End quote. Cheering you on or calling for new leadership. Mr. President, that's Democrats' motivation. Pleasing their far-left base and preserving their political careers. Meanwhile, we're reading stories about military families lining up at food banks, flight delays because of understaffed airport towers, needy families uncertain about the food assistance they depend upon. But our Democrat colleague from Rhode Island says, and I quote, "For Democrats, it's so far, so good." End quote. So far, so good. I doubt military families and federal workers would agree. If there was ever anything to make it clear that Democrats are in this for their own political advantage, it is callous comments like this one, or the Democrat leader's statement that, and I quote, "every day gets better." End quote, for Senate Democrats. Mr. President, while Democrats may be basking in praise from their far-left base, polls show that most Americans want this shutdown to end. 2/3 of voters think Democrats should reopen the government rather than hold out for their partisan demands. And if just 5 more Democrats would show some courage, we could do just that. We need 5 more Democrats to say, enough is enough, to put the American people ahead of the far left, and to support this clean, nonpartisan continuing resolution sitting right there at the Senate desk, ready to be picked up and passed today, put on the President's desk, signed into law, and the government reopens. If just 5 more Democrats would show some courage, we could do just that. So, Mr. President, 5 more votes, this bill could be on its way to the White House. As I said, President Trump stands ready to sign it. It is clean. It is nonpartisan. It has no policy writers, no partisan gimmicks. It simply funds the government for a foreseeable time to November the 21st to give us an opportunity to finish the appropriations process under regular order and to deal with the funding of the government in the way that it should be funded, in an open, transparent process that uses the committees under regular order, the Appropriations Committee, subcommittees, the floor, open to amendments. Again, I know that's a novel concept. That's a novel concept compared to the way the Democrats did it when they had the majority. Even though the Appropriations Committee did its work last year, 11 of the 12 appropriations bills were reported out, not a single one was brought to the floor of the Senate. Because they like to negotiate behind closed doors with a handful of people deciding on behalf of everybody else. That is not the way this place ought to work, Mr. President. Troops need to get paid. Families need to get the help they need. All this uncertainty for the American people needs to go away. And we can get back to work on the things that really matter. But the question is, are Democrats interested in that? Or are they more interested in being cheered by far-left groups at Saturday's rally? Well, I guess we'll see soon enough. Will today be day 15 of Democrat shutdown? We'll have another opportunity later today to vote on that bill sitting right at the desk. 5 more Democrats, it passes. It goes to the White House, gets signed into law by the President, and the government opens up. Will today be day 15 of Democrat shutdown? Or will it be the day we reopen the government and get back to the business of serving the American people? Mr. President, I yield the floor, and I suggest the absence of a quorum.